video I'm going to talk about three things that truly make the philosophy of the three treasures, the paradigm of the three treasures, such a profound and deeply effective and deeply empowering worldview, philosophy, and conceptual basis. Now, the first thing of the three treasures is that 1/3 of the whole emphasis of our health is based on our spiritual health, on our mental, emotional health. So, of course, just to back up a little bit, the three treasures are Jing, Qi, and Shen. So this third treasure that we're talking about is our Shen, which is associated with our intellect, our mind, our memory, our emotions, as well as our spiritual awareness and our overall psychic health. And this is truly what makes the three treasures so profound, is because it takes into account, of course, all of the physical aspects of our being, our constitution, our hereditary predispositions, our physical structure, our organ imbalances or deficiencies or excesses, as well as our overall day-to-day health, vitality, and energy, as well as these more non-physical things which have a huge impact on all of the physical things. Because when you typically go to a Western trained practitioner or someone coming out of modern medicine, they tend to ignore these non-physical aspects. They tend to ignore the impact of emotions, the impact of your spiritual health, the impact of all these non-physical things that are happening in our psyche that are influencing our body and influencing our health at a truly profound level. So thousands and thousands of years ago, the people who were using this system and who were developing the system understood that we need to treat the whole person. We need to understand that a physical symptom, a physical manifestation, can have its roots in the emotional, in the mental plane, in the spiritual plane, and vice versa. And we need to understand that, and we need to take a holographic picture, a holographic view of the situation, and really see what's happening. Not just look at the physical, not just look at a symptom, but zoom back and get a whole look at the situation and really treat the person, not just the symptom. So that's the first way that I feel the three treasures is a really profound system. The second way is that it takes into account the past. It takes into account our genetic predispositions, our hereditary, and our overall just makeup, which they call our Jing. So basically the energy that we're inheriting from our parents. So when the sperm and the ova met in our mother's womb, and then those two energies came together, that's when we inherited a lot of Jing, because we inherited the essence from our parents. And it goes on and on back through the generations. So if we come out of the womb with a really strong essence or a really strong constitution, then we're going to have one bill of health. But if we come out with a really weak bill, or a really weak build, or a really weak constitution, then we're going to have an entirely different bill of health. And again, this is in contrast with our modern Western perspective, because they don't take into account any of those things. They're just saying, oh, well, what's the symptom right now? Oh, well, this chemical's causing this, and this chemical's imbalance, we got to treat it with this thing. But they don't take into account, okay, well, what's the history, what's the Jing, what's that looking like? Okay, what's the Shen looking like? What's these overall mental, emotional, physical things that are happening? They don't take all these things into account, so we don't truly get a big, accurate picture of the situation. So it's two ways that I feel that this three treasures, this whole concept of the three treasures, is so profound and so empowering and so effective. The third thing that I feel is truly important is that encoded within the concept of the three treasures is the idea that if we truly want to develop higher consciousness, higher awareness, higher intellect, we have to first build the foundation and strengthen the foundation. Meaning, if we want a lot of Shen, we want a lot of consciousness and expansion and intelligence and creativity and all of these things, but our Jing and our Qi, our foundations, aren't really in place, then our Shen is going to be shaky, it's going to be weak. And it's likewise with the candle analogy. It's often used to describe these treasures. The Jing, which would be the actual dense physical substance of the candle, meaning the wax and the wick, meaning if you have a thicker candle, bigger candle, and more wick, you're going to be able to produce a bigger flame that's going to burn longer. And but if we have very little wick and very little wax, its candle's going to burn out really quick. It's not really fulfill its purpose. So the Shen would actually be the light that's put off by the candle, and the Qi would actually be the flame of the candle, or how the energy is actually utilized. So if the Jing and the Qi, if the actual flame is weak and the wax and the wick are weak, the slightest little wind gust or breeze is just going to knock that candle out, and extinguish it from actually fulfilling its purpose. Likewise, with us, the slightest little stress or emotional imbalance or anything that comes at us, if our Jing and our Qi are weak, it's just going to blow us out, stress us out, wipe us out, and basically inhibit us from fulfilling our purpose and whatever it is that we're supposed to be doing. So taking all of those things into account and understanding that all of those things are encoded in the three treasures truly makes it a really profound and deep and deeply empowering health system and health philosophy to take on. Now, the last point that I want to make is that, for one, our lifespan on this planet has a finite amount of time assigned to it, meaning it has a beginning and has an end. And since on top of that there's only 24 hours in a day, and on top of that we sleep most of it, on top of that we have other responsibilities. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we only have a certain amount of time that we can actually devote to these kinds of things, to devote to our cultivation, our health practices, or spiritual practices, or whatever it might be. So if we choose, a low leverage health discipline that really doesn't yield results, or really isn't tested, or really isn't time proven, then we're going to get one level of results. But if we can take on something that's thousands and thousands of years old, that's been tested and refined and cultivated and developed over that whole time, and we're able to get that whole puzzle intact, and we take on that philosophy, then we're going to get an entirely different set of results that are going to most likely be so much more high leverage and actually help us achieve what we want to achieve and fulfill our purpose in whatever it is that we're trying to do. So that's what makes the three treasures so profound and so empowering. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.